Hello and welcome to the Super Memory for Schools program. My name is Dui An, and today we'll go through one of the very important lessons, which is international organizations. Today we'll learn Unit 14, International Organizations. One of the most important international organizations is the International Red Cross. Today we'll go through the vocabulary and, at the end of the lesson, we'll have some exercises so that you can better understand what you've just learned. Are you ready? Let's go! Our lesson has three parts. The first part is definition. The second part is duties. And the third one is foundation. As for the definition part, let's learn what the International Red Cross is. The first new word is humanitarian. The word humanitarian is an adjective, which means connected with helping people who are suffering and improving the conditions that they are living in. The word humanitarian means nhân đạo. Liên quan đến việc giúp đỡ những người đang chịu nhiều đau khổ và cố gắng cải thiện điều kiện sống của họ. Humanitarian means nhân đạo. That's our first new word, humanitarian. So, International Humanitarian Agency means cơ quan nhân đạo quốc tế. We've learned that the International Red Cross is, so what are their duties? We'll learn about two duties of the International Cross, at war, which means trong thời chiến, and at peace, which means trong thời bình. Let's go over the new words. The word duty is a noun, which means something that you feel you have to do because it is your moral or legal responsibility. It means nhiệm vụ một điều gì đó mà bạn cảm thấy là bạn phải làm vì điều đó chính là trách nhiệm đạo đức hoặc là trách nhiệm pháp lý của bạn. The word duty means nhiệm vụ. The second vocabulary is be dedicated to doing something. Be dedicated to doing something is a synonym of devoted, which is an adjective. To be dedicated to doing something means to give a lot of time and effort to a particular activity or purpose, because you think it is important. The phrase to be dedicated to doing something means dành thời gian và công sức cho một công việc hoặc một mục đích cụ thể nào đối với bạn nghĩ rằng đó là điều quan trọng. So, be dedicated to doing something means ông hin. Let's look at this example, which is also a sentence, from the textbook in order to understand it better. In time of war, it is dedicated to reducing the sufferings. It means trong thời chiến thì hội chịu tác động quốc tế công hiến cho việc giảm bớt những sự đau khổ. Let's learn some more new words. Of wounded soldiers. We have the image of a wounded soldier, which means một thương binh, một người bị bị thương. And civilian means thương nạn. In time of war, it is dedicated to reducing the sufferings of wounded soldiers, civilians, and prisoners of war. It means trong thời chiến, hội chịu tác động quốc tế công hiến cho việc giảm bớt những sự đau khổ của những thương binh, của những thương nạn và của những tù nhân trong chiến tranh. So, how about in time of peace? In time of peace, it gives medical aid. Here we have the images of medical aid, which means VIễn floods, which mean lũ lụt, and earthquakes, which means động đất. So in this sentence, we've learned three new words. Medical aid, which means VIễn floods, which means lũ lụt, and earthquakes, which mean động đất. The two new words that we'll learn about are epidemic, which means dịch bệnh, and famine, which means nhân đói. So the meaning of this sentence is, in time of peace means trong thời bình. It gives medical aid and other help, means hội chịu tác động quốc tế mang đến những viện trợ y tế và những sự giúp đỡ khác. To victims of major disasters means cho nạn nhân của những thảm họa lớn, such as floods, which means lũ lụt, earthquakes, which means động đất, epidemics, which means bệnh dịch, and famines, which means nạn đói. By the way, I also want to share with you a rather important piece of knowledge. In Vietnamese, we only have one word, dịch bệnh. But in English, there are two words with a rather big difference. which are epidemic and pandemic. Epidemic is a disease that affects a large number of people within a community, population, or region. The word epidemic means một căn bệnh ảnh hưởng đến nhiều người trong một cộng đồng, một khu dân cư, hoặc là trong một quốc vụ. And a pandemic is an epidemic that spreads over multiple countries or continents. The word pandemic means một dịch bệnh ảnh hưởng đến nhiều quốc gia và nhiều châu lục. So obviously, a pandemic has a greater range of influence than an epidemic. For example, we have the SARS epidemic and the COVID-19 pandemic. We've understood it more clearly, right? So we finished the definition and the duties sections. Let's move on to the last section, Section 3, Foundation, in order to understand all of today's new words. The word found is a verb. The verb found is in its infinitive form, not the past simple form of the verb find, because the verb found here means tanla, not timkim. We have the noun foundation, which means su tanla. The second new word is initiate, which means kamot sankin. And we'll have the noun initiative, which means mot sankin. It's a new plan for dealing with a particular problem or for achieving a particular purpose. An initiative means một cái ý tưởng hoặc là một kế hoạch để giúp cho bạn có thể đối phó với một vấn đề hoàn toàn mới hoặc là đạt được một mục tiêu cụ thể. The word headquarters is a noun, an uncountable noun and a singular countable noun, as well as a plural countable noun. It's a very interesting word, isn't it? The word headquarters can be abbreviated to HQ, which means trousseau. The firm's headquarters is in London. The firm's headquarters are in London. These two sentences are both correct because headquarters is a singular noun and also a plural noun. The International Red Cross has its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. It means Hội chữ thập đỏ quốc tế có trụ sở tại Geneva, Thụy. So we finished the vocabulary section of Unit 14, International Organizations. Let's repeat these new words. Definition: International Humanitarian Agency. Duties: at war, reduce the sufferings. At peace, medical aid and other help. Foundation: Swiss man, initiated. American man, founded in 1991. Total number, 186 societies. Headquarters, Geneva, Switzerland. So we finished the vocabulary section.